Hi, this is Mrs. Sigala, and here is the key for the practice problems for Unit 1.3 for significant figures, due on Wednesday, September 3rd. All right, the first section of practice problems asks you to determine the number of significant figures in each measurement. If you remember from our notes, we have to first identify whether we have a decimal point present or absent. The first problem is the decimal point is right over here. And the rule is, again, it's absent. You make the P with your left hand. So we're going to go from the left to the right. And we're only going to count all the numbers starting with the first non-zero digit. So in this case, we don't count any of these zeros. The first non-zero number is 4. And then we have to count every digit after that. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 significant figures. Okay, the second problem, we have to identify is there a decimal point present or not. In this case, it's absent. If it's absent, again, I make that A with my right hand, and it means that I'm going to be counting from my right to my left this time. First non-zero number, so again, I don't count these zeros because there's a decimal point absent. So my first non-zero number is 5, and I'm going to count all the numbers after that 5. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3 significant figures. Oh, I can't forget my units. Sorry about that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm just identifying significant figures. I'm not solving any calculations. All right, next we have 508.0 liters. In this case, we have a decimal point that's present. So we're going to go from left to right, the first non-zero number. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We must include the 0 in this case because it's after all these numbers that we've taken into account. Next number, we do have a decimal point present. So again, we're going to be counting from left to right, starting with the first non-zero number, so we don't count these zeros. So our first non-zero number is 4, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 significant figures. Next number, we do have a decimal point present again. So again, we're going to go from our left to our right. First non-zero number is the first one, which is 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 significant figures. Next one, we do have a decimal point present. First non-zero number is a 4. So I'm going to get rid of these zeros. So it's present. I'm going to go from left to right. First non-zero number, I have 4, and I have 3 significant figures. Last problem for identifying the number of significant figures. Decimal point is present, and so I'm going to, first non-zero number, we go left to right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 significant figures. Okay, the next section asks us to identify the correct number of significant figures along with the unit, but in this case now we're either adding or subtracting our problems. Now if you remember correctly from class, we asked for you to line up all those decimal points. So, and then we're going to add. So first I'm going to line them up. So I have 258.3. Okay, and I'm going to add, let me make this a little bit smaller. Make my column over here. So I have 258.3 kilograms plus I'm going to add 257.11 and 253. Okay, all right, so then I'm going to do my math. And again, remember, don't take too much time doing this by hand. Use your calculator. And I have 768.41 kilograms. Okay, now, the question is, okay, how many sig figs do I keep in this case? Well, if I'm talking about equipment, in this case, my equipment that isn't as accurate as others is this one right here. So I look at this one here, and it's not very accurate. And so there's no way that I can say that my answer can be this if this equipment right here can't give me to the 100th place. And so now I have to end up with 3 significant figures because of this measurement right here. So now, in this case, I take my answer, 768.41, and I need to make that 3 significant figures. My doubtful digit, again, is this 8. So then I look at what this 4 does to this 8. Well, since that 4 is under 5, my answer will be 768 kilograms. Okay, my next problem, I'm going to scoot way over to the side, that we have some space to work with. So this one's going to be way over here. I'm going to try to write a little bit smaller. I don't have my pen on me today, or my stylus. And the second problem gives me 5.236 centimeters. But now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract 3.14 centimeters. Again, I do my math. So 5.236 minus 3.14. And my answer is going to be 2.096 centimeters. Then I look at my numbers again and identify, okay, so in this case, I can only extend my decimal point place to the 100th place, because that's the most accuracy that this 3.14 can give me. So in this case, I want to end up with this right here, but I also need to see, okay, what effect it'll have on my number. So again, my answer is 2.096 centimeters. I need to keep to the 100th place, okay, and so in this case, I want to see what my doubtful digit is, this 9. The 6 rounds this number up, so my number becomes 2.10 centimeters. And here's my answer. To the 100th place. Alright, my next problem, and I'm still not writing very small. My next problem, I'm adding, so I'm going to bring it back closer. In this problem, I'm adding 0.0487 milligrams. I'm also adding 0.05834 milligrams. And I'm adding 0.00483 milligrams. Okay, here's my addition sign. And again, when I look at all these, I can tell right away that this measurement right here gives me the least amount of accuracy. Okay, so let's add these all up. So 0.0487 and my answer is 0.11187 milligrams. Okay, so then now in this case I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right of the decimal point, but again, remember that I need to make this number only 4 places to the right of the decimal point. So I'm going to rewrite it over here, 0.11187. And so now I need to look milligrams. What does this 7 do to this 8? It rounds it up to a 9. So my answer will be 0.1119 milligrams. Okay? Okay, now when we're multiplying or dividing, the rules change a little bit. And so let's go through these problems first and then identify, okay, how many sig figs will my answer have? Well, the rule to multiplying or dividing numbers is that you're going to go with the number of sig figs that has the least amount of significant figures, okay? So let's look at that first one. It sounds a little confusing. So let's look at the first one. We have 24 times 3.26. If we look at these, we identify that 24 meters gives me 2 sig figs, and 3.26, again, the decimal point is present, so I'm going to go from left to right. This one gives me 3. Okay, so I'm going to erase the sig figs because I don't need to know that. I know that. So in this case, my answer should have 2 significant figures. We'll get those in just a minute. Let's go to the next one. Again, the decimal point is present. This one has 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs, so my answer should have 2 significant figures. We have 120. The decimal point is absent. Remember, we go from right to left. So in this case, we have 2 significant figures. Here it's present. We still have 2 significant figures, so our answer is going to have 2 significant figures. All right, then here we have 4 significant figures, and here we have 3 significant figures. So my answer should have 3 significant figures. We have 1.23 meters times 2.0 meters. Again, 1.23 has 3 significant figures. 2.0 has 2 significant figures. Okay. All right, so now let's do our calculations. And again, use your calculator. Don't worry about doing this by hand. So I'm going to take 24 times 3.26, and my answer is 78. Well, my calculator tells me it's 78.24 meters. But then I see that my answer should only have 2 significant figures. Okay, so to make it 2 significant figures, okay, my doubtful digit in this case would be the 8. So my answer in this case should be 78 meters. My doubtful digit, the 8, and that's okay. All right, my next problem, I have 4.84 divided by 2.4, and my answer, it's a really long one. Oops, sorry. 2.01 6666667. Okay, so here we can just kind of put that number there. And my unit is seconds. Based on the problem that I see, I know that I'm supposed to have an answer with only 2 significant figures. So to make this 2 significant figures, I need to make sure that these 2 numbers, stay. So then I look at the rest of my problem, and I want to see what impact does this 1 have on a 0? None really, since it's under 5. My answer will be 2.0 seconds, and I stay with 2 significant figures. All right, my next problem, I have 120 times 0.1, and my answer is 1.2. 1.2 meters. Well, I need to stick with 2 significant figures in this case, and my answers are already at 2 significant figures, so I'm good. All right, next one, I have 102.4 divided by 51.2, and my answer is 2 seconds. But my answer must have 3 significant figures. Okay, so how can I make this number 3 significant figures? Well, I must add a decimal point, 2.00 seconds. And remember, because there's a decimal point present, I must count from left to right, first non-zero number, and that's going to be 3 significant figures. Here's my answer. All right, next one, we have 1.23 times 2.0, and my answer is 2.46 meters. But my answer must have 2 significant figures. So then I look at my answer. My first two, these will definitely be included. But now I want to see what happens to my doubtful digit. This 6 is greater than 5, so this 4 will turn into a 5. So my answer is 2.5 meters. Alright, so next we have combined operations. And if you remember, this is going way back to middle school and high school again. And if you remember the order of operations PEM does, you're always going to start off with parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Okay, so we're going to go in that order. So in this case, now we're going to do our multiplication first, which is our first step. So first we're going to multiply 3.20 times 3.65. 3.20 times 3.65. My answer is 11.68 centimeters. Now, in this case, since both of my numbers only have 3 significant figures, my answer must only have 3 significant figures. So next, I look to see, here's my first 3 significant figures. What is this 8 due to the 6? It makes it a 7. So my answer would be 11.7 centimeters. And now I can add my centimeters. And please disregard the square. This is wrong. That should be centimeters. Oh, never mind. You're good. I'm wrong. Because centimeters times centimeters will give us centimeter squared. Okay? Alright, so no, we do need this squared. Otherwise, we would not be able to add them. Okay, so now I'm going to 11.7 centimeters squared plus 21, oh, there's no point, 21 centimeters squared. So now I see I'm going to have 32.7 centimeters squared. But again, remember, okay, this right here is the equipment that's limiting me. So my answer can only have 2 significant figures. I can't have anything beyond the decimal point. So in this case, now I have to convert my answer from 32.7 centimeters squared to 2 significant figures. So again, I'm going to look at, okay, here's my 2 significant figures that I will definitely be keeping. But what does this 7 do to this 2? Since it's greater than 5 again, it's going to turn it into a 3. So I'm going to have 33 centimeters squared. And here's my answer.